Okay. 2 words, social media. What is social media? Social media are websites and applications that enable users to create content and interact with others. Take LinkedIn, for example. We all know what that is. But let's not forget about the most common used platforms, that being Snapchat, Instagram, and Twitter. When do you check your phone? Is it first thing in the morning, once before bed, or constantly throughout the day? It doesn't matter which one you chose, because at the end of the day, it's all bad. And this is where the problem starts. My name is Tamara, and I firmly believe that social media has a negative impact on us as users. According to Pew Research, about 69% of the United States has at least one form of social media. Now, I know that doesn't sound terrible, but think about it. This is only the US. What about the other 49 countries? In 2010, it's estimated that 940 million people were using social media worldwide, a number projected to increase to 3.4 billion in 2023. 5 years of the average person's life will be spent on social media. How would you feel knowing that you spent 5 years of your life staring at a screen all day? Really, think about it. You see, we as humans don't realize how much power social media actually has over us. Did you know that social media has dramatically increased due to cyberbullying? According to research, 95% of teens in the US are online, and the vast majority access the internet on mobile devices, making it the most common medium for cyberbullying. Social media is fake. Everyone on social media is infected with the same problem. So while we can share a delectable stack of pancakes that we had for breakfast, the highlight of last night's party, our feet poolside on vacation, our likes, all we are sharing is an expectation, or what the media sees as one. People put out what they want you to see, not the reality. The girl with the perfect feed, likes, and following could be depressed on the other side of the screen. You would never know that. Look at it this way. Would you let everyone know how you were feeling after you posted that picture? I know I wouldn't. You see, social media platforms and the way we use them are designed for not showing our authentic selves. In conclusion, social media affects us negatively. You can try and fight it, but it's the truth. It needs to be fixed, but there's only so much that we can do. Social media has made us feel as if we are not worthy. And that's not true because we are. It has affected our day-to-day interactions. Most families have lost loved ones who have committed suicide due to cyberbullying. This needs to be talked about, but it hasn't been talked about enough. Social media is a toxic love-hate relationship that we are all blinded by. Thank you for your time.
All right, do you want to pass it over?
Oh, yeah, sorry. All right, and Kayla.
Okay. Can you guys hear me? Someone say yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Good afternoon, y'all. I'm Kayla. I'm excited to share with y'all my speech. Let me start off with asking you a question. Do you have a web camera covered because you want to protect your privacy in case someone hacks you? Let's be real now. Does that really protect you when you already have other social media or medias that could be easier for people to have access to? I'm Kayla, and I firmly believe that social media poses more harm to users than good. Today, I'll be sharing with you about how social media does a poor job at protecting others' personal privacy, as well as touching base on how social media makes it a lot easier for the government to invade our personal life using it as a tool to spy on civilians. Let me educate y'all real quick. So, data scrapping involves tracking people's online activities, collecting personal data and conversations from social media, job websites, and online forums. So, usually, research companies they're the collectors of this data. They compile it and then they sell it to companies. Those companies, they use that data to design targeted ad campaigns for their products. So one could argue that people are knowingly sharing their personal data on social media, and thus it's free for everyone's use. Um, sorry, it's and it's free for everyone. Those data collectors, they don't ask for the owner's consent. So let me tell you about one strong case for a serious online privacy violation that took place May 2011. Nielsen Co., a media research company, they were caught scraping every message off of Patients Like Me, an online forum, where people talk about their emotional problems and what they think is a safe environment in private. So as you can tell, once a lot of people found this out, they felt that their privacy was violated. There was a survey that surveyed 81% of people do not feel very or not at all secure when using social media sites to share their private information. 40% of people reported some difficulty in managing their privacy settings, while 13 million users said they had not yet or didn't even know about Facebook privacy settings where you can turn on and off your facial recognition. So the National Security Agency, also known as the NSA, they can monitor social media activities and read the content of private social media messages simply by entering one's username. Cotego Service is a group that specializes in worker conversation claims that has a unit dedicated to social media monitoring to detect frauds. So both of these show how much social media is under surveillance. Also, when employers want to ensure that a potential hire is qualified and will reflect well on their company, they're going to perform a background check that includes social media. A social media is an online profile that can provide information on professional credentials, career objectives, maturity and judgment, abuse of drugs and alcohol, and your current employment status, and any other red flags. So when employers mention that they'll be conducting a background check, they don't always mention in detail how exactly they're going to perform that background check. Another important point to notice is our news. It's under control. So they're allowing what information the citizens should know and see. So they could be covering up lies, they're feeding us false information, or even sugarcoating the truth. The media will not show positive news from COVID-19. They're not talking about the updates on missing human trafficking. The media, they're going to determine what the public sees, covering up the truth of what's really going on in the world. This should not be a surprise to y'all. Once the government notices how much control and power they have over the people, using it on different types of social media and medias. Wait, I messed up. Once the government notices how much control and power they have over the people by using different types of social medias, They become to keep secrecy and use terms like confidential to cover up. So overall, the main point should be the main takeaway should be to protect your social media and be more cautious with what you choose to upload. Think about your private, update your private and safety terms. Think twice before you upload or post something, and learn how to protect your computer and our phone from getting hacked or getting viruses, because a simple webcam cover can only do so much. Thank you. It was kind of funny because Tamira's was like similar to mine. It like went together.
Similar topic, but you both had different evidence, so it was interesting.
I know. That's cool. To break the silence, it was like funny when I was presenting. I had like nerves, and like when I would think about it, I would mess up. So I would try to like focus back into presenting.
All right, great job, Kayla. Do you want to pass it on?
Yes, thank you guys, y'all. I'm gonna pass it to Floor. So good luck, Floor.
Hi everyone. Most people like to enjoy a cup of milk with cookies or donuts, or maybe even just by itself. But has anyone ever considered what's really in their glass? The FDA allows around 750 million pus cells in every liter of milk. During World War II, milk was in high demand. So to push the cells, the government began to push milk onto Americans by putting it in schools, forcing people to believe that milk was a necessity to having a healthy body. But if you believe dog milk is for puppies and cat milk is for kittens, why is cow milk for humans? I'm Flor Sandoval, and I'm here to share why I firmly believe that milk is not good for human consumption. I will be sharing with you why milk clogs your arteries, breaks down your bones, and causes a lot of other health problems. A single serving of milk can contain more than 20% of the recommended daily allowance of saturated fat. And for those that don't know what saturated fat is, it is a fat that contains only saturated fatty acids. Some examples are butter, cheese, tropical oils, or fatty cuts of beef or pork. They tend to raise the level of cholesterol in the blood and increase the risk of cardiovascular disease. Cardiovascular disease is a condition that involves narrowed or blocked blood vessels that can lead to a heart attack, chest pain, or stroke. A single serving of milk can contain as much as 24 milligrams of cholesterol. Animals' protein produces acids when it's broken down, and calcium is an excellent acid neutralizer. That's why a glass of milk robs our bodies of calcium. Because the milk contains a lot of acid, calcium has to be stripped away so our bodies isn't affected by it. Losing calcium causes our bodies to lose bone mass, making them very weak. Also puts you at risk for bone disease. During a Harvard medical study, it was found that people who consume the most cow milk have significantly higher fracture rates than those who consume little to no milk. Cow milk has also been linked to anemia in children, as well as infants. Because cow milk has less iron, it causes small amounts of blood loss from the intestines, which makes it harder for the body to absorb iron. And it also causes multiple forms of allergies. Milk and dairy products are linked to an increased prostate cancer risk due to the hormone insulin-like growth factor, saturated fat, and dairy calcium. Consuming non-dairy products is found to slow the process of prostate cancer, but regular consumption of dairy products has been linked to lung cancer, breast cancer, and as well as ovarian cancer. A study found that the reason milk is linked to so many cancers is because of the hormone that dairy cattle are constantly given to produce more milk. Milk has also been linked to acne because of the hormone produced by cows that are found in milk. They overstimulate oil glands and cause overproduction of oils. A study found that people who drink the most milk tend to have a lot more breakouts. There is a lot of risk factors that people don't want to acknowledge when it comes to dairy products, but people should know that there are better alternatives for milk, like soy milk, almond milk, or maybe even oat milk. And the list could honestly go on and on. Maybe consider the things that I spoke about today the next time you want some milk. Thank you, everyone. I will be passing it on to Rodrigo now, whenever he's ready.
Rodrigo will wait about 1 minute. So Flora, you can get some good feedback.
Okay. Thank you, Flora. That was a great speech. Hey, everybody. I am Rodrigo Cisneros, and I'm here to talk to you about why poker is a legitimate sport. When we think about sports, we more or less think about football, basketball, or baseball. But what exactly makes a sport? Webster defines a sport as an activity involving skill or physical exertion in which an individual or a team competes against one another or others for entertainment. So I'll be breaking down why poker is a sport in these three categories. First, entertainment. Second, competitivism. Third, takes a lot of skill. First, poker is pretty entertaining. Venues of that hold poker tournaments get filled with people who just want to watch top poker players go at it, seeing who's going to be the last person standing. And it could get pretty intense when a player goes all in, betting all or nothing on a gamble, thousands of dollars, whether believing that their hand is the best hand. Second, it's competitive. It's actually very competitive. It's one of the only sports I can think of where everyone is against everyone. It's a game where everybody you know and you're going against are trying to take money straight out of your pocket. With tournaments like the World Series of Poker last year, having the third place leave with $4 million, second place leave with $6 million, and first place leaving with a whole $10 million, you could see why the road to the finals could be pretty cutthroat. Lastly, poker requires a lot of skill, and this skill takes a while to master. Have you ever been concentrated or focused so much on an essay that you become physically exhausted? You weren't moving around or anything, yet you're tired and you need to rest. Poker players need to have that level of focus for hours because they're constantly thinking about reading other players, predicting their next move, finding a best way to react, and strategizing the best way to take them down. With skills like that, you could really only be gained by training. When was the last time you seen someone train to play a game like Monopoly? Not really. They don't really hold hand in hand. Winning poker tournaments, there aren't accidents. They take a lot of skill. If they were accidents, then there wouldn't be a consecutive champion. Daniel Negreanu won 6 World Series of Poker tournaments because of years of his hard work and training. He's a master who could read people and can make wild predictions that are often true. When former sports commentator Lon McEachern was asked, why is there a card game being shown on a sports channel, he replied with, there's a difference between games and sports. Games are about luck, while sports are about dedication. And top champion winners definitely have dedication. So I know me saying that poker is a sport sounds a little silly, but I'm a firm believer that hard work deserves recognition, no matter what the medium is. We just started getting this recognition with esports and chess showing on TV. And with all the training that these professionals put in through the years of hard work, it's not really anything to laugh at. So I ask you, the next time you see some random sport on a TV, ask yourself, well, how much training did they put in to get to that level? Thank you. If they have any feedback or questions, please leave it in the chat. Up next, we got Amit whenever he's ready.
Thank you, Rodrigo. That was a great speech. I never thought of poker as sports before. So I want to ask you, do you know what the number cause of death is in the world? You can come off of mute.
Cancer.
What did you say?
Cancer.
No, actually, it's heart disease. But cancer comes in right next at second place. Did you ever think how could we prevent that? What might be the reason why we get so sick? What if I told you it was what we eat? Not really surprising if you think about it. After all, you are what you eat. The point of my speech is not to criticize your way of life, but to share some information with you. According to the American Heart Association, most heart disease is diet-related, caused by diets high in animal byproducts. Meat, eggs, and dairy products are high in cholesterol and saturated fat, just like Flor said. According to the World Health Organization, processed meat causes cancer. Yes, hot dogs, ham, bacon, sausage, beef, pork, lamb, you name it. Processed meat has been classified in the same category as causes of cancer, such as cigarette smoking. Now, would you let your kids smoke cigarettes? Think about that. I encourage you to watch the documentary, What the Health, for more details and research. Prepare to be shocked. This documentary, along with Game Changers, convinced me to switch to a plant-based diet. And ever since, I feel healthy, energized, focused, and ready to start my day every morning. Now you might be wondering, how can becoming vegan save the world? Effects that scientists had predicted in the past would result from global climate change are now occurring. UN experts reported that switching to a plant-based diet can help fight climate change. A major report on land use and climate change says that the West's high consumption of meat and dairy produce is fueling global warming. But scientists and officials stopped short of explicitly calling on everyone to become vegan or vegetarian. They said that more people could be fed using less land if individuals cut down on eating meat. The document, prepared by 107 scientists for the UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, says that if land is used more effectively, it can store more of the carbon emitted by humans. And what about water preservation? You know, California is in a drought. Here are some facts. One person who goes vegan can save approximately 219,000 gallons of water every year. It takes 1,000 gallons of water to produce just 1 gallon of milk. If you eat meat, you're responsible on average for the consumption of 15,000 liters of water a day. It takes the equivalent of 50 bathtubs of water to produce just one steak. You save more water by not eating 450 grams of hamburger meat than you would by not showering for 2 months. If you're interested in learning more about the climate change and water usage, watch the documentary Cowspiracy. If I had more time, I would go over how it's just not right to treat animals like products. However, I can't live without giving you another documentary about the animals cruelty topic. The name is Dominion. I encourage you to at least cut down on animal byproducts, incorporate more plant-based products like vegetables and even meat replacement products to your diet. If not for the animals, then for yourself. If you have any questions or feedback, please share in the chat box. I will give you a little bit more time for the feedback, even though I can't wait for Judith for her speech. Really interested by that. And I will share the documentaries in the chat box too for anybody who's interested. I'm pretty sure they're all on Netflix. So Judith, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Amit. That was very informative. Give me 1 second. Former astronaut Buzz Aldrin said, "We're all in danger, it is evil itself." He said this in a tweet after visiting the South Pole. In the tweet, he also attached what seems to be a snow-covered pyramid. The tweet was deleted moments after. I'm Judith Hernandez, and I'm a firm believer that all United Nations are collectively hiding secrets from us in Antarctica. There is a lot of classified information hidden from society in today's world, so why wouldn't they lie about something so secretive like Antarctica? In order to enter 60 degrees south of Antarctica, you must have high-level clearance and have a guide. The public is also not able to fly over or roam around free. A treaty named United Nations Office for Disarmament Affairs, or better known as UNODA, is a treaty that was signed in Washington on December 1st, 1959 by the 12 nations, Antarctica, more specifically the South Pole. Through this agreement, the countries consult on the uses of a whole continent with a commitment that it should not become the scene or object of international discord, making Antarctica 75% restrictive. Although many believe that this is purely innocent, there might be more to it than trying to keep the peace in Antarctica. The ice is so cold in Antarctica that it can make anything frozen, such as viruses and bacteria that can possibly wipe out humankind. Even extinct creatures and creatures that have never been discovered that they claim can be the end of humankind if it was unfrozen. John Prisco, a professor at Montana State University who has been doing fieldwork in Antarctica for 27 years, stated that there is a living ecosystem beneath the ice and that they're in a suspended state of animation during that 500,000-year trip, or they're growing very slowly. On the other hand, those who are not superstitious can also state that if there were anything to cause harm to society, they would address it. But if this was true, wouldn't they have addressed many other things that are out in the world and we know to exist? Among the viruses, there are many unknown secrets behind being withheld from the public, such as Nazi bunkers, aliens, and cities. Matt Soniak, an editor, states that Nazis took control of part of Antarctica and built underground bunkers where they would experiment with creating new technology. This theory originates from a story about a Nazi expedition to Antarctica. The story says that while exploring and mapping the area, they uncovered a multitude of underground caves and rivers. One of the caves was particularly large and was turned into a large city that would be home to both Nazis and other powerful groups like the Illuminati. Along the way, the Germans either came across alien technology or made contact with the aliens. The Germans learned how to use technology and were able to build a number of weapons. There's also a secret UFO base in which UFO technology was first established in Antarctica at the end of World War II by the Nazis, who did the obvious thing when they thought they might lose the war and moved to Antarctica to test fly UFOs. They have been doing it ever since, secretly 74 years so far and counting, some might speculate. Theories might say that because there is no exact fact stating this, that it was merely an exploration to find some new land. But if this was true, why did the Nazis remain there for quite some time in such a cold place where absolutely nothing grows? There are also many rumors that there is a huge hole in the middle of Antarctica, and that this hole either reveals that the Earth is really not round and is actually flat. Others say that this hole connects with the other pole and to the hollow Earth and those who live there. Around this, there is a wall that stops people from the almost South Pole Station from falling in the hole. Non-believers can say that this is not true because how can such a big secret be hidden from the world? But everything adds up, because why else would they have so much restriction on a so-called peaceful place? Personally, I believe that the reason to have this place such protected is that there are numerous things being kept and frozen from the public's eye. Things that they don't want you to know about. Secrets that if they were leaked out would change not only beliefs in our government, but the entire society as we know it. Thank you. And I would appreciate some feedback in the chat, and we'll wait a minute and then I'll pass it on to Becca. Okay, I'll pass it on to Becca now.
Hi, everyone. I'd like to start by sharing how in Texas, a police officer was fired and charged with murder after body camera footage was released and contradicted his initial statement in the shooting of an unarmed youth. And in Baltimore, an officer and 2 of his colleagues were suspended after his body camera footage showed him and his 2 colleagues planting false evidence. And in San Diego, the use of body cameras relieved the use of excessive force, such as use of taser, pepper spray, and firearms by 16.4%. The list goes on, the videos get worse, and the evidence continues to support why I believe police officers should be required to wear body cameras. Police-worn body cameras hold officers accountable for their unlawful actions. These cameras being required will instill more trust from the public, and they capture not only the bad, but the good as well. Also, body cameras are not only to capture footage, but also can be used as training tools. Police being required to wear body cameras would ensure that they are held for their actions. This brings up the topic, no video, no justice, and I have the perfect example to share with you. Some may say cameras will not capture enough to hold an officer accountable. However, in Texas, a police officer was fired and charged with murder after firing 5 rounds into a victim's car. The officer claimed he thought the victim's car was aggressively coming towards him and his partner. The footage captured was played in court, and the jurors watched frame by frame, which actually showed the car moving away from officers as they fired 5 rounds into the car, killing an unarmed 15-year-old. The footage played a huge role in the jurors' guilty verdict. Officer Oliver is now serving 15 years for murder. Had the body camera not been present, the officer would not have been held accountable. With that in mind, many of you know how much controversy around law enforcement has been in the news recently. Many have lost trust within the officers, but the body cameras would help install more trust and cooperation when officers are responding to a call. A survey was taken at Penn State showing 93% of people in favor of police wearing body cameras. 59% think it would make public more likely to cooperate with the officers they encounter, and 66% believe police officers would improve their behavior. Some may think body cameras would be intimidating for citizens, but the survey from Penn State proves that body cameras would help build a stronger connection between citizens and the officers they encounter. As someone whose hometown was affected by a mass shooting, I can tell you that police body cameras release of that dreadful day helped bring awareness and respect for officers in my community, showing their willingness to do anything in order to keep everyone safe. Body cameras on police officers can also be held as training tools for future and current police officers. Dimitri Roberts, a former Chicago police officer, says body camera footage can be used to reflect back on split-second decisions officers have made in the past and use it to come up with better and more effective solutions. Body cameras can also be used to train up-and-coming officers to better prepare them for situations they may end up in and possible challenges they can face. It will give them firsthand training on what to do in that split second and get it right the first time. After hearing what I've had to say, I challenge you to read about families who have lost loved ones to police shootings and how they never were brought to justice due to lack of evidence, or try and understand how police continue to put their lives on the line without seeing it firsthand. And whether you decide to or not, these occurrences will still be happening, and unless it's recorded, you will still be oblivious. Thank you. I'd appreciate any feedback in the chat box. I'd like to pass it off to Sam once everyone's done giving their feedback.
All right. Hello. Hope you're all doing good today. I have one question to ask you. What is the one breakfast item that is always there? One you see in every TV show and movie at breakfast. Oh, hold on. My door. Sorry. Sorry, someone came into my room. Can I restart? All right, for sure. Thank you. All right. Let me just restart with the question. What is the one breakfast item that is always there? In every TV show and movie at breakfast. Go ahead. Yes, it is obvious what it is. That item is the one and only orange juice. Hi, I'm Sam Pinion, and I deeply believe that if you drink orange juice at least once a day and even invest in orange juice, you'll become a healthier, richer, and happier person. That will just make your life better. The first point of mine I would like to touch on is how orange juice makes you healthier. Many studies on orange juice from Florida's Department of Citrus say that orange juice has many natural health benefits. Oranges contain high levels of flavonoids, vitamins C and B9, and antioxidants, as well as offer our bodies a healthy intake of potassium, magnesium, vitamins A and E, and even iron. These natural benefits from oranges fortify our immune system, improve our health, clean our skin, even lower our risk of cancer. And it also improves hair health and growth. There are some sources saying orange juice is not that good for you from results of doctor studies. These sources fail to mention that the doctor studies that were on oranges were to see if they prevented the common flu and not if they were healthy or unhealthy. So the next point I would like to address, how orange juice can make you rich. Orange juice is not only America's favorite breakfast drink, it's the world's. I bring this up because orange juice sales in the global market have been rising, rising 24% in 2019 alone. Even though the effects of shelter-in-place is hurting many markets, the orange juice market has been seeing a monthly rise in sales, ranging from 9 to 12% per month. The only real problem orange juice is seeing, meaning demand. Supplies in most warehouses running low due to everybody buying orange juice. And the only, so if you were to invest in oranges, buy more growing land for orange juice, just like put money into oranges, you can see a really nice return on investment. Last point I would like to talk about is how orange juice makes you happy. Orange juice and happiness are both known associates, according to from Florida's Department of Citrus. FTC conducted a national U.S. survey of over 1,000 people, and It interviewed a smaller group of around 30 people of all ages about how orange juice makes them feel and how they like it. Around 1/3 of the survey participants said that orange juice brightens their mood. Over half said that it gives them a boost of energy. During the interviews, a couple keywords that many interviewees shared were positive, carefree, and rejuvenated. Many of the adults interviewed said that drinking orange juice made them feel like a child again. So it made them feel the same warmth and happiness that they did chilling in the kitchen with their parents. So yeah, there is proof that orange juice can make you happy. Uh, yeah, and like all conclusion, I can safely say that orange juice is a very like superior liquid, nearly on the same level of water. And that everybody should drink it and even invest in it. Thank you. Oh yeah, also I'm open to feedback. Put that in the feeds. The next person would be Bobby. You got this.
I'll have to drink some orange juice later. I'll give you all a minute to finish the feedback. Depression, anxiety, sound familiar? How many of you check in on social media as soon as you wake up? Or how many of you hung out with a loved one and caught yourself or them scrolling on social media instead of engaging with one another? My name is Bobby Brown. My topic is on social media and how it's brainwashing lives worldwide. According to a former Google product manager, Silicon Valley is engineering your phones, but the tech world would not prefer you hear about it. They call it brainwashing. This speech is worth putting down your phone to listen to. There is a whole playbook of techniques that gets used to make you pay attention to your device as long as possible. Snapchat is the most popular for teenage souls. Snapchat created a feature called streaks. Essentially what that means is a picture is sent back and forth to create a streak. When the number of streaks increase, then exciting emojis will appear. Facebook has an endless scroll, and people spend all their time just to hope to find something intriguing. When these features are being designed, are they being designed to most help people in their life or brainwash you for their benefit? They are shaping the thoughts, feelings, emotions, and actions of people. They are programming people, children. Tech companies want you to use it in particular ways for long periods of time because that's how they make their money. They sell your eyes. You don't pay Facebook, Coca-Cola does. Social media is destroying our kids' ability to focus. We should have devices that make the best of our time and not just grab our attention. Parents are assuming it's like when we were kids, gossiping on the phone. But what they are missing is telephones did not have 1 million engineers on the other side of the telephone redesigning it and streamlining it every day to be more and more persuasive. That was not true in the 1980s. A computer programmer that understands the way the brain works knows how to write code to get the brain to do certain things. Programmers that study neuroscience are asking themselves, how can I make you feel extra awesome to get you on the app longer? Initially, after posting a photo on Instagram, the platform holds back some likes to let you know later in big bursts. We are all a part of a controlled set of experiments that are happening in real time against millions of other people, like guinea pigs. The more we look at the screens, the more data companies collect from us all. Ad spending on social media has doubled in almost 2 years to more than $31 billion. The average person checks their phone every 15 minutes or less, and half the time they have 0 notifications. I have anxiety right now because I have not checked my phone all training. Notifications generate cortisol in our bodies. It starts to make us anxious. And then the goal is to get rid of it. So we check in. This is the same feeling humans experience back in the caveman days to protect us from danger. The result is a flight or fight causing anxiety that will lead to depression. Social media is a platform where people compare their lives to others. Consequently, depression will appear from disappointment. Now, let me ask you these final questions. Are you in control of your devices, or are your devices in control of you? Thank you. I'll accept feedback in the chat box. And I'm proud to pass it to my colleague Daphne in a moment. Thank you.
I love seeing all the feedback. Good job, Bobby. You did amazing.
Thank you, Daphne. I know you'll do great.
Thank you. Children deserve to be brought up in a home filled with love, laughter, safety, security, protection, encouragement, boundaries, and hope. What gender resides in that home shouldn't matter. I am Daphne Rocha, and I firmly believe that same-sex couples should have the same rights to adoption as heterosexual couples. I will be sharing with you how same-sex couples choose to have children. They foster tolerance in their children and can reduce the amount of kids currently in the foster system today. With a show of hands, how many in this class know they are an oops babies? I know I'm one of those. Studies show that about half of the US pregnancies are unplanned. About 250,000 babies get put up for adoption each year, and there are 437,000 in the foster care system today. Same-sex couples choose to have kids, and they are 4 times more likely to adopt than heterosexual couples. Studies show more than 16,000 adopted children live in same-sex couples houses in California, the highest number in the United States. They foster tolerance in their children. Children raised by same-sex couples say their upbringing taught them open-mindedness and empathy. A study done in 2007 shows that 46 adults who grew up with at least one gay parent, 28 of those interviewees independently mentioned that they felt their upbringing made them more tolerant and accepting. They also nurture the neediest. In 2011, the Evan B. Donaldson Adoption Institute found that 60% of those same-sex couples adopt cross races, which is important because minority children have a tougher time getting out of the foster care system. 25% of children adopted were older than 3, a tough age range to adopt, and more than half of those kids had special needs. A 2007 report by Urban Institute found that more than half of gay men and 41% of lesbian couples in the United States would like to adopt. That's a huge number of potential parents, considering we have more than 400,000 children in foster care systems today. Same-sex couples should have the same rights to adoption as any heterosexual couple. 2 dads are better than none, and 2 moms are better than none. Thank you for your time. You can go ahead and leave any feedback in the comment section. Thank you.